So we're in October. September is over. So in this video, we're going to talk about our update, our financial independence retire early journey update for the month of September and how things went. It was a good month overall, but we did have a little bit of a trip up, which we'll get to in the video. If you're new to us, I'm Jim.
I'm Cherie.
And our channel is all about getting to early retirement. Yep. So stick around. Thanks.
All right, let's talk my favorite subject, savings rate. So our savings rate is something we always prioritize as number one. It kind of is the most important and largest target that we drive for. Our goal is typically 38%, and our actual was 43%, which was a really great month.
Yeah, we hit it. I mean, 5% more, take it. It's awesome.
Yeah, and our year to date so far has been 60%.
Which is pretty fantastic. I mean, we've been kind of close to 38%. We were at 39% as our lowest, and then we got as high as 80%. So anywhere in that range, it's pretty awesome. To be 60% in almost a year, 3/4 of the way through, that's pretty great.
Yeah, there's been some months we've barely squeaked by, but this was definitely not one of them.
Yeah, but we saved a ton of money this year and reinvested most of it.
Yeah, so let's talk about what boosted that savings rate. So we actually had an interest rate of over $500, which was great.
It's great.
Solid hustle month of over $700.
I think that was one of our best months outside of selling the Jeep. That was one of the best months. We sold so many things. I don't know how many times we met people in parking lots selling things, but it was a lot this month. We sold a lot of possessions this month, like little things.
They added up.
Yeah, it added up to a lot of money.
Dividends came in at $250, and that fed into our savings rate.
So the dividends that we quantify for this are those that are in our brokerage account. So taxable account, we get taxed on those. We can use that money, pull it, use it however we want. These aren't like long-term ones that are in our 401k or 403bs or IRAs. These are in taxable accounts. So we count those towards our savings rate. So those are what get in there.
Absolutely. So the total added income was almost $1,500.
And which is awesome. I mean, it's $1,500 we're able to just save.
That's great.
Which we need to move, right? We need to buy stuff to move. So
it's
fantastic.
That's coming next month, honey.
Yeah. Yes.
Wait, stay tuned for that video.
Yes.
So spending, budget targets. So our goal is typically always 100% or under, and we actually went over by 1%.
We failed.
I think this is the first time we've failed in a very long time.
I think since January or February was the first time we've actually failed. And we've done like in a year and a half or almost 2 years. This is the second time we failed, but it was only by 1%. But technically, we still failed.
So I will tell you why we failed, and it wasn't poor planning.
No, it was good planning, but
yes. So my car battery died. He actually went out there to put something in it, and he couldn't start the car.
It was the last day of the month.
Last day of the month, September 30th.
Yes.
And he had to go buy a car battery, which actually put us over the percentage for the month. I know what you're thinking. He should have waited to the next day. Well, I will tell you, I had to drive 30 minutes to go to my second job the next morning at bright hours of 7 o'clock.
I'm going to fix it. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to fail.
I could have taken his car, but then that would have left him with no vehicles. And in the case of an emergency for other people in our family, I wasn't willing to do that. So he was gracious enough to change it.
I would rather you fail, us fail, than to leave you stranded and not drive to work. Like, that's not right.
Just remember, he said he's willing to let me fail, right? You guys heard that.
You know what I meant.
I know. I'm just kidding. So that was okay. It's one of those things that, like, it's okay to be planners and budget really well. You just never know. Yes. And this is a perfect example of that. And if it reflects on anything, like, things happen and we understand.
Yeah. And you got to be real about it, right? Like, you're right. Things
Absolutely.
happen.
So it was still a great month. I'm not going to lie. But yes, we would have made budget.
It's fine.
But things happen and we failed. And that's okay. Admit it.
So with spending like that, right? So we used to spend like doing sinking funds, like people budget. And we used to budget the same way. We don't budget that way anymore. We used to budget that way where you sink funds into put certain money into certain buckets for months. And we weren't able to save as much as we're able to save now. And what we did was we changed the way that we do it now. We actually set a set amount every single month of here's what we're going to spend, and that's it. There's nothing more. Regardless of what happens, there's nothing else, right? Which is 100%. Whatever that number is, 5 grand, 6 grand, 10 grand. Whatever your budget is, you set an amount and that's it. Now, yes, you do get crazy amounts that come in now and then, right? You get like car insurance comes in, or
Ugly.
certain things that come in that are bigger that month, right? But you know it's coming. If you budgeted for years, you know it's coming.
Yeah.
You set that amount that way. And we've been able to actually drive our budget down dramatically over 2 years. We've been able to drive it down, right? The first year was 6%, which was pretty good, right? It was pretty jagged. We had like, every month was kind of like you didn't know what was coming in, and that was 2022. And then last year we're like, no, we're not going to do this anymore. We're going to set a target amount and that's it. Just set it.
Yep.
And since then, we've been super consistent all the way along to be able to only have, that's all we spend and that's it. So in the months that you have the big bills coming in, you just don't go out. You don't do a lot, right? So that 70-30 that we talk about, our discretionary, non-discretionary, the discretionary, you just back down. You don't spend enough. You don't go out. You don't go out to the bar. You don't go out to dinner. You don't buy gifts that month. You buy it the other months that you don't, right? So we budget that way.
Right.
And by able to do that, we've actually dropped our expenses 22% in 2 years that way, which is pretty dramatic. Just by changing the way that we actually target our spending, we've been able to cut it back a lot.
You just have to look at it a different way. And, yep. Spending, non-discretionary and discretionary. So typically, like you mentioned, is 70 to 30. Ours was actually 76 to 24.
So we won.
Yeah.
Even though we were over budget, we still won that way. But because our need spending was higher than our want spending, we actually cut back thinking that we were going to miss it. And we almost miss it. And then we did miss it because of the car battery.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things.
Yeah, it just happens.
So we did have one-time expense, which I think we're going to have a lot of these to come, was our junk removal. If you watched our August video, we were really seeking high and low for an affordable way to remove junk from the garage and from the shed and from the basement. We had quotes over $1,200, $800
to remove junk. It was $1,200. I'm like,
it wasn't anything crazy amounts. We just didn't want to rent a dumpster because dumpsters were even quoted even higher. So it ended up being only $400. We were very, very lucky to know somebody who knew somebody. And if you're ever in New Hampshire and need junk removal, I'll be happy to share that name.
Yeah.
He was an excellent individual, and Jim actually befriended him and pretty much helped him move everything into the dump truck.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. It was an extra workout. So I'm like, I'll help you load it all up. It's fun.
Yeah. And then our spending top 5 non-discretionary categories, again, not severely out of range for us, typical categories for us. So the first one was property taxes. And if you've seen the New Hampshire video, which he can link, property taxes are really bad here. Every quarter they're there and they're always number 1 for us. Groceries, the cost is just going up and up, and we have pretty much almost 5 adult people living in one house. And
it's expensive. Yeah.
It is expensive. Number 3, construction loan. Well, here we are in Tennessee. We're in Tennessee right now. We are actually here checking on our build, and we do have a new construction loan that we are supporting. And we are trying to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible, but that does mean having a construction loan in the process. Number 4, home improvement. Well, guess what? If you're selling a house and need to get to point B, you need to fix it up. And he is very handy, but there are some projects that are a little bit crazy. And
they're just cost-wise anyway. It just costs money to paint. It costs money to do everything. Everything you do, it costs money.
And electricity, well, that's not going down in the state of New Hampshire. And even though we weren't really using the ACs quite as much or having to turn the lights on quite as much, it was still expensive.
Yep. Still our 5th.
All right, spending. Top 5 discretionary categories. Well, if you've seen our previous videos, no shocker here either. So it is now fall, so tuition for sports is now in session. Yes. Welcome to that. I love it. I wouldn't ever not want to see my kid do it. But again, it's very expensive. So in order to support their loves, we have to dig deep a little bit. Number 2, dining out. We had a few occasions this September, moving, kids back to school and celebrating, some things like anniversaries. Happy 21st.
Happy 21st.
And then just some friends that we had to catch up with that we got so busy during the summer with that we took out to dinner. We definitely budget for this, but it does add up.
But we budget for it. I mean, that's part of the fun spend. Like, I know when you hear financial independence, retire early, everybody thinks you got to eat, rice and beans, and you don't. You actually still can live, you still can have fun. We actually budget 30% of our expenses to have fun, and we only hit 24% this month, which is good because we knew we were close to budget because of property taxes. But you still have to have fun.
You do.
Still got to live.
You gotta live. And then 3, alcohol. Well, that kind of goes along with dining out.
Yeah,
when we
when you
dine
go out,
out, we like to have a cocktail or like to support our local breweries or industries by like maybe taking some take-home goodies. 4, charity and gifts. Well, I don't know. We had some birthdays, some anniversaries, some things we wanted to donate.
Yeah, it's always on our top 5. Gift giving, and it makes us feel good too. So it's always on there.
Absolutely. And then this one doesn't typically make a list, but it totally makes sense why it did. We have 2 kids that are seniors. One's a senior in high school, one's a senior in college. They both had some extra things that we weren't thinking were going to hit the price tag so early. But we did have one daughter who already had to order her cap and gown. Crazy. Yearbook. Who knew? And then one kid who decided to upgrade her college experience by living in a nicer dorm, which I totally understand. She loves to cook, and rather than buy the meal plan, we did have to upgrade her a little bit more with her cooking abilities to get some things that she needed.
Yep. All right, let's talk about investments now. So every month we look to gain 1.88% in investments based on what we contribute and based on market averages. And this month we thought it was going to be horrible, like super horrible, like 8%, 10% down. We were plus 2.86%, which is amazing. Yeah, like we didn't think that this month was going to be, I mean, I don't think anybody thought this month. 4 years in a row, September is lost. So no one thought that it was actually going to work out the way that it worked out, but it worked out great. So we're up good. I mean, year to date, we're up 36% in investments. So we thought we would be at almost 17%. We're up 36%. We've doubled it, which is an amazing year. Like, can't be more blessed and happy with that number. Super happy. So let's talk about individual leaders. So we do invest in individual equities. It's not a large portion of our portfolio, but we like to play a little bit of gambling here. Yeah, a little bit. So Tesla is number 1 right now with almost 48% gain since we bought it. I mean, it kept crashing hard, and we're like, it's going to come back. It's going to come back. So we bought on the dip, and almost all of the leaders that we have on our board are all on dips. The market reacts and overreacts in certain ways, and you just got to watch the patterns, and then you can buy them when they dip, and then they're going to go back up. So we've had really good success on our individual equities for the leaders. Carnival's been up there. Lowe's is up there. Walmart had an amazing month. They dropped hard, and it's like, it's Walmart. They're going to come back. Like, if you look at their fundamentals, they're phenomenal, and they came back. So all 4 of those had a really great month. We've had really good luck with those. Losers. So there's always the biggest loser, right?
Love the show, but hasn't been around for a while.
Yeah. So the losers, we've only had 6 so far equities that we've invested in that are currently down, which is pretty good at 36. We own 36 individual equities and only 6 are down. ASML, they can't get their sea legs. Not sure what's going on with them. It's an AI play. They're actually a really good company. Not sure why they're still down. Novo Nordisk has fallen hard. Bernie Sanders and the Senate are really attacking them for overpricing GLPs, which I'm not necessarily sure it's their fault when you look at the middlemen of the PDMs and everything else that's involved with that. But anyway, once the government lets up on them, they'll come back. McKesson's also had a really, really bad, month and a half. It's not even a month, it's a month and a half. McKesson's got to get their stuff together. So we've only had really 3 this past month that have dropped. And we've had a lot actually that have done really, really well. So we're actually happy with our individual investments. New investments, we jumped into 3 new ones. 2 of them are AI play. They're not technology AI play. They're supportive technology AI play. They are in utilities and industries. So Constellation Energy is nuclear energy for data centers. So Microsoft actually signed an agreement with Constellation. So that's going to, over years, will actually turn out to be a really good buy. So we're going to continue to invest in them. And Vertef Holdings is another one. They actually do heating and cooling and all different types of things for data centers for uh, software companies. So NVIDIA has a partnership with them right now. And so we're looking for a long play with them as well. We jumped into JP Morgan's income, so JetQ. We jumped into that because we need a play for our bridge account. So when we are going to retire before 59.5, we need a way to constantly get income. And we already own SCHG and FDVV, but we also wanted a third partner there. We want 3 together to be able to build that kind of bucket 2 for us. So we're starting to invest into JetQ. Little right now, but eventually we'll continue to add to that position. Deeper investments, it's all about mutual funds. There are some individual equities jumped into, but it's really all about our mutual funds right now that we're investing in. All right, progress meters, 59.5. We really, we want it to be 100%, but at this point, we're not focused on it. We used to be focused on that one the hardest before we hit Coast Fire. And once we realized we hit Coast Fire, this one's, it's good to track because we know we need to hit that number, but we're not really jumping into adding to it. We're just, we still are. I still am in my 401k and HSA, but yeah, it went up 2% though. So we're super happy with that, but it's not something we're no longer focused on, which is crazy because after 4.5 years of being, we were really only focused for 4.5 years on that number. Now that we hit Coast Fire, we're like, yeah, we got it. So let's move on to the next one, and which is the bridge. So the bridge is really what we're focused on now. We don't expect to make much progress on this until we move to Tennessee next year in late spring, early summer. We hope to start making progress, but we were up 1%. So we're happy. Being 1% up on that is better than none. And we're super happy with it. We know that this account's going to fluctuate until we move because we have to buy all new furniture. We got to buy all new possessions, because we're selling everything now. So we've got to figure all that out to be able to buy that stuff. But being up 1% helps, right? We can take that money and use that money to buy those things. And the last meter is our expense meter, which we need to drop down hard. There's a lot of expenses. Yes, we've done good. We've cut our expenses over the last 2 years, 22%, but we need to get a whole lot better at that. It's crazy. We've got 30 something percent. We still got to drop on it. So
right.
We just have to work on that.
Absolutely. So let's talk the good, the bad, and the ups. One of my always favorite topics because I love to talk about the good stuff and I almost want to cry during the bad. But you know what? The month of September, we were able to push off our pellet fuel costs to October. So that was super great. And I'm grateful. And I probably will cry next month, but that's next month. And I'll cry about it then. We were able to design our closet and pantry spaces, which was super fun and actually not as stressful as I thought.
No, it was fun.
And we had a great savings rate, even if we didn't meet budget. Number 4, solid side hustle month, almost $1,500.
Yep.
And then number 5, we made our investment goal, which Jim just talked about. The bad. Well, we just barely went over budget, so that was kind of sad, especially since we really did really well.
We tried so hard to make it, and we didn't.
But you know what, guys? It was a good lesson for us. Hopefully, it's a good lesson for you. Sometimes there's just things that happen that even no matter how good you are at it,
no matter how hard you plan,
it can happen.
Yep.
Electricity costs, don't know where that came from, but it wasn't really great for September, even though we weren't using as much air conditioning or electricity. I just think it was just one of those things that just added up, and I'm not sure it's going to get any better next month. We'll see. And then number 3, as well as we love the whole sports things with the kiddos, sports tuition did kick up a little bit earlier than we thought. The UGs, well, if you've seen any of our previous videos, you know that the property taxes are never very pretty here in New Hampshire. And that was definitely the ugly part of our month of September.
It's every quarter.
Yeah. So we'll see what next month holds up.
All right, let's talk about next month.
All right, next month's outlooks. We are expecting a lower than normal expenses. Well, I won't hold my breath on that because you just never know. Like lesson
But
learned
it's
with the whole
supposed to
car
be.
battery. But I will say, number two, we have extra paychecks. So I don't know if any of you get paid bi-weekly, but when it comes down to it, some months actually have more paychecks than others. Well,
Get twice a year.
we both actually have an extra paycheck coming for the month of October, so we're super happy that that will be something that we can count on in our pocketbook.
And we don't budget for it. So that money all goes to savings rate. We don't spend it. It all goes to savings every time.
Number three, from the wonderful state of Tennessee, here we are.
Here we are right now.
We are actually heading back to Tennessee to check on the house
which is right here.
progress. So you may see some videos in our future videos coming about Tennessee because that's where we are right now.
Yep.
We're going to continue to save extra income and put cash in the position to be used for next year for landscaping and moving expenses. And purchasing your new furnishing, which we literally just did the other day here in the wonderful state of Tennessee. Five, we expect sports tuition to still be really high. We have costumes to buy and things to do for that, shoes and things. And then even though we were able to push off the pellet fuel, that is coming as well.
Yeah, that's this month. Yeah. But our savings is all about cash, right? Getting in that cash position to be able to buy the stuff we need rather than putting on credit cards, layaway, any of that. We just buy it and be done with it.
Right.
Okay, we are going to add a new segment to our monthly updates. We are going to add a shout out section. So we're going to try to do 2 every single month for these types of videos that we put out. So the first one is for Greg at Hardy's Financial Coaching. Greg does a great job with financial literacy and really just financial education all around, whether it's someone that's a novice and just trying to understand how to budget and what accounts to open and manage, to people that are much more experienced. Anybody can learn from him, so we'll link his channel down below. He does a great job on his videos. Very clear and concise advice. The second one is Just Finance. It's a younger couple who are on the FIRE journey, so financial independence, retire early journey. They're at the beginning stages trying to pay off a mountain of college debt like many are, but they have their principles down. So it's really fun to watch them along the way. And we have no doubt that they'll make it to financial independence. I know they joke now and then about getting to Fat FIRE. That's really hard to do. We'll see if they make it there, but it's fun that they're trying to get there. But they've got the right core principles down, and I have no doubt that they'll get to at least financial independence. So those are the 2. We'll link them down below. And thanks for watching. If you like this video,
kiss the like button.
Kiss that like button. And we'll see you next month. Thanks for watching.